Welcome back, painting friends. Today we are going to paint a nice fall, maybe even a Thanksgiving bouquet. So, colors you're going to need. I want to make a navy, so I actually have dark blue and brown on there, white, red, orange, yellow, purple, and then I've got black, brown, and blue at the bottom. I always have my favorite 4 brushes. I have my 1-inch flat brush, my 10, 6, and 1 round brush. Remember to have a cup of water and a rag for keeping those brushes clean. And remember, if you like what you're seeing, make sure that you like and subscribe to my channel so you are kept up to date on all of my tutorials. So, like I said, I want to make a navy color. So I'm just going to mix that blue and that brown up on my canvas, or on my palette, put on my canvas. I'm just looking for a really dark blue color. So this is going to be my wall color. So I'm just going to make a line about 1/3 of the way up on my canvas. And everything above that line, I'm going to go ahead and paint in that dark blue color. I don't really even have to wash my brush off, but now I'm just going to take some brown paint on that dirty brush, and I am going to brush that brown on for my table. And the reason I don't feel like I need to wash my brush off is I don't mind if some of that blue shows through. With that brush still a little bit dirty, I'm going to wipe it off. I don't have to wash it off, but I'm going to wipe it off. I'm going to grab a little bit of white paint, and I'm just going to make a couple of horizontal lines with my white paint. Wipe that brush off, and then I'm just going to brush these lines through. That'll help it look a little bit like wood grain on my table. Perfect. We're going to let this dry. When we come back, we will add in that pumpkin and the bouquet. With a dry background, now we're going to lay out our pumpkin. Now you can choose to keep your pumpkin plain white. You could make it orange. You could add a little bit of blue to it or a little bit of brown to it. I'm going to start with white and then I'm going to add a color. So I've got my number 6 round brush and some white paint. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by making a set of parentheses. So just 2 lines that kind of copycat each other. From there, I'm going to put a little bump on the bottom of it. Got ourselves a nice little horseshoe now. And then from there, I'm going to start right here at the top and I'm going to make a large letter C and connect it. And on the other side, I'm going to do the exact same thing. So from right here, large, well, this is like a letter D, right? I can go ahead and paint this whole space in white. Now, the top of this doesn't really matter because we're going to have flowers covering all over it. But if it does bother you, just, put a little bump on the top, fill it in, you're good to go. I am going to use blue. I was trying to decide which one I was going to do, but I am going to use blue. So what I'm going to do is right where those lines originally were, I'm going to put some blue on here. I'm also going to take blue and go along this outside edge. And then along the bottom. Then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take that blue with my white on my brush. I'm just going to start to pull those colors in. If my brush gets dry, I'm just going to grab a little bit of extra white. I want towards the center to be a little lighter. Now, if you think this blue is too aggressive for you, all you need to do is take a little bit of brown. Brown is a great color to tone things down. So if you think that blue is a little too bright or a little too aggressive, add a little brown in it. And all of a sudden, you go from having this really, really, really bright blue to just a little bit of a muted blue. Now, when you start to blend your colors, really just blend till you like it. If you want more white, you're just going to add more white. If you want more brown or blue, just add more brown or blue. I think I'm pretty happy with the center area. So now I'm going to do the exact same thing to these sides. I'm going to grab that blue. I'm going to outline that side and that bottom. And then I'm just going to start slowly bringing those colors in to the center area by adding a little bit of brown. And when I run out of paint, I'm going to add a little bit of white. I'm going to go back in with that number 6 round brush with the brown paint. And I'm just going to make one straight solid line going right down that crack. This will be the darkest shadow in the area. With that same brown, I'm just going to add a little bit more to the bottoms of the pumpkin. Just brushing that color up a little bit, making sure that the bottom looks as though it has a little bit more of a shadow than the rest of it. Now, let's talk about these flowers that are going to go on top. I'm going to show you a couple different things you could do with flowers and then really just have fun with it. We're going to do all of our greenery first and we're going to finish off with our flowers. Now, this is a fall bouquet. Oh my gosh, I just realized I never put any green on my palette. I'm going to have to make sure I go back and edit my video because I'm not really sure how I'm going to add leaves without any green. Okay, now that I have green on my palette, a lot of our fall colors are going to be a little bit muted. So if you want to do any wheat, you can always take some of your yellow and a little bit of brown, mix them together, and you get more of like a mustard color. So anytime I tell you to mix a little bit of brown in, just take a little spot of that, drop it on your palette, and give it a good mix just to dull your colors a little bit. Remember, we are going for a little fall rustic look. So let's add some yellow on there first. I'm going to take this mustard color I just made, and all that is my regular yellow paint, a little bit of brown, and I'm going to make just a couple of lines of yellow. I like to do things in threes, and I like them to kind of sometimes be separate. So I'm going to put one here, I'm going to put one going this way, and then I'm going to put one on the opposite side just to kind of balance it out a little bit. Now, with all of those, what we're going to do is we're going to create a leaf shape that looks kind of like this. And so all that is if you remember how we kind of started our pumpkin, it was 2 parentheses. That's exactly what we're going to do. If you're noticing that that dark blue shows through quite a bit, all you have to do is add a small amount of white to your yellow and then it doesn't happen. So that is the first thing. I'm going to jump in speed motion and I'm going to add all of those yellow leaves. I love how these are popping off the canvas like that. Love it. That original navy color that I made for my background, that brown and blue mix, I'm going to add some white to that and make it a very light, smoky blue color. And with that, I'm just going to add some little sprigs of spirals coming out. So I've got this really nice smoky blue color. And with that smoky blue color, I'm going to take it and I'm just going to make a couple of little just curls and swirls popping out. Now let's move on to our regular greenery. So I'm going to take some green and brown and I just, again, want to dull down that green just a little bit. Want it to be a little bit more of a fall-esque green. And I'm going to make a similar leaf to my yellow leaves, but these guys are not going to have as many leaves to them. They're going to be a little bit longer. So with this little bit of a darker green that I'm making, I am going to make I just make one of these. These are going to be taller and they're going to be pointing up a little bit. Now I'm going to take that same green color and this time I'm just going to add some white to it. I'm just going to lighten it up a little bit. I'm not going to add any brown. I want it to be a little bit more of a minty green color. I'm going to add one more set of leaves and then we are going to move on to those flowers. So these leaves are just going to be small little sections that kind of come out from the vase. And they're just going to have a couple of leaves that are the same shape as the yellow leaves, maybe 3 on each one. We'll keep it really simple. Then on these, I'm just going to add a dark green line on one curve of them. All right, let's let this dry. When we come back, we are going to add in those flowers. All right, it is time for flowers. So I am going to paint the same type of flower, but I'm going to do a red, a yellow, and a red, a yellow, and an orange. I'm going to use purple for the inside. So I've got my number 6 round brush. I'm going to grab some purple paint with a little bit of black paint on it. So a lot of purple, a little black. And I'm going to make the center of the flowers. And so I'm just going to add this nice little center here, a nice dark smoky purple color. And then with these flowers, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a clean brush and a lot of white paint with the color that we're using. So for the yellow, I've got a lot of white paint in my yellow. So I'm going to do my yellow one right here. And I'm going to start by just making lines going around this purple. And as I start to lose that color a little bit, I'm just going to grab some white. And I'm going to finish that out in just white. Wipe that brush off. Now, if I want to do any other yellow flowers, I think I'll do one more yellow flower. I'm going to do the same exact thing. So the yellow and the white, and I'm just going to make small little lines that kind of go around this. Okay, a little bit of purple mixes in because I think that'll just make it look like it's a separate flower from the first one. Now inside the center of these flowers that are black and purple, I'm going to take just black on my brush. I'm just going to kind of dot some black in there. I want to see the purple, but I want it to be mostly dark. So I'm just taking a little bit of black and kind of dotting that black inside of there. I've still got my number 6 round brush. And then wash that brush off, grab a little bit of black paint, and watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to just very gently draw where some of the petals might be. So I'm just going to make a couple of curved lines with very skinny lines with this black. That same black, I'm going to go in and I'm just going to add a little bit of black to the edges of these yellows. And a little bit on my green as well. I'm just really liking that outline thing going on right now. Well, I wasn't planning on doing it, but sometimes I don't always make the plan, it just kind of happens. I'm going to even add a little bit right here on the pumpkin. I think I'm going to add it to the green as well. If you've ever painted with me before, you know that sometimes I change my plan halfway through. And this is one of those cases. I love how that's looking. I'm going to wash my brush up, and I think I'm going to add some white highlights, which I had not planned on doing. But I'm going to take some white, and I'm just going to add some white highlights to, I'm not going to say the tops of everything, but the tops of some of these, I'm going to add some white highlights to. In the top of these flowers. So we're just going to add a little nice light highlight on top of all these guys. Oh yeah, now I'm loving it. All right, well, you know what to do. When you finish your picture, grab a color that's going to show up well on your canvas and sign your name. I always add my initials in the bottom right corner. Make sure that you take a picture of what you're painting at home and then you post it to my Facebook page, Painting with a Purpose. Remember, I never get to see what you're painting at home unless you send it to my Facebook page, Painting with a Purpose. Make sure that you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Painting with a Purpose, so you're kept up to date on all of my tutorials. And remember, as always, stay kind, stay creative, and stay safe. Now, if you've ever painted with me before, again, you know that I change things, right? So look, we're going to add right here 2 little buds. Just thought about that. Wouldn't that be pretty if those were hanging down? I'm going to use some red and brown, darken that red up a little bit. We're just going to take, so it was just straight line and a couple little lines, and watch this. We're just going to add in here some little lines of color. How pretty is that? How simple is that? I just felt like we needed some color down here on that pumpkin. Now, take a picture of what you painted home. Make sure that you post it to my Facebook page, Painting with a Purpose. Make sure you like and subscribe. And remember, as always, stay kind, stay creative, and stay safe. Have a great day, friends. Bye now.